Here we've got the next generation of Arturia's hugely successful Keysteps. It's the Keystep MKII. It's got similar looks and is a similar size, but has got a whole load of additions compared to the original. And I've not got the original Keystep 1, but I do have the Keystep 37, and you can see the similarities there. Obviously, these are additions for the Keystep 37. So you can see the main change on the front panel is the fact that we've got all sorts of digital control that we didn't have on the original. In the original, we've just got the sequencer, the ARP, with 8 modes for the ARP, divisions and the rate. And then on the keys, we've just got the MIDI channels, gate, swing, sequencer and scale. And all that is within the menu system in the new one. The connections are slightly different on the back. On the Keystep MKII, we've got an extra modulation output on the CV outs. We've still got the sustain, the sync in and out, and the MIDI in and out, but we've now replaced the micro, or is it mini USB, with a USB-C, and we've got an on-off button, which is very welcome, I know. We've dropped the switches for clock options because, again, that's all accessed via the screen. The keybed itself is a bit smoother, nicer to use. And apparently the aftertouch sensitivity is better, but I don't really use aftertouch, so I couldn't really comment on that. But it does feel like a decent little keyboard. But yeah, for me, the main upgrade is this digital control and the screen, so you don't have to use the MIDI control center. And from a functionality perspective, or a software perspective, this has got so much more depth than the Keystep 1. It incorporates features that we see on Arturia's more expensive controllers. The sequencer, for example, it's got pattern change, so you can do like a song mode. It's got automation, it's got undo, mutate, and unquantize modes. I'm just showing you here that when you hit the button, you go into the mode, hold the button and you go into the menu for that mode. The Arpeggiator has now got mutations as well as generative patterns. We've got 16 different ARP modes on this. And we've got this ARP to sequence function, so you can create an ARP generatively, do a few mutates on it, find something nice, save it to the sequencer, and then you can use it in the sequencer, edit it in the sequencer, and then if you want, you can bring it back into the ARP. And we've got chord modes with scales, so if we hit shift and scale, we've got different scales in there. We've got all the main scales you might want, plus you can obviously program your own, so take it out of ARP mode. And if you're in a scale and you're creating mutations, everything works within that scale, which is why I wonder, is this cheating almost, because you need absolutely zero musical knowledge whatsoever to get up and running and do some quite interesting things. So create an ARP, mutate it, put it into the sequencer, save it, mutate the sequence if you like that, save it again, mutate the sequence again, save it again. So you can end up with lots of sequences all based around the same theme that can be used across a track in different ways without knowing at all what's happening musically. So generally, it's a massive upgrade in terms of hardware and functionality. It turns what was a really useful but basic little keystep into a much more comprehensive controller, sequencer and arpeggiator. So I think I'll start off by looking at the ARP, because that's probably the simplest way to do things. So I'll take out of the chord mode for now. So create an ARP, hold it, different modes, up and down, random, note order, that's the order I played them, polyphonic, single notes, lots of them, random, then less single notes, and even less single notes, some long notes, some single notes, or short notes I should say, more long notes than short notes, some chords and single notes, more chords, less single notes, long chords, and short single notes, and longer chords. And the 16th, that's the one with the little person, is for when you want to bring the sequencer into the ARP. I'll show that in a bit. So we can mutate that. That's quite nice actually, isn't it? Maybe add some delays in there as well. We can save this now to the sequencer, press shift and to sequence, and we can now save that sequence, shift and save. I'll just save it there. So that's now a sequence, so I can play that as a sequence. Unfortunately, it's not playing on the first note. Let's play it on the first note, shall we? So I'll just, so there you go, we know where the first note is now. And if we hit record, you can see that we can go in and we can edit everything. If we don't want one, we can just hit hold to delete it. Press hold to add a rest and press hold plus a note to add a tie in step edit. So you can go in and you can change the notes if you find one that's particularly obtrusive maybe, but really just start again, it's quicker. So let's do that. Let's start again with a sequence. So shift and clear, pattern cleared, there's nothing in there. Let's record something. So it is polyphonic. There you go, let's just do 4 notes for now. I've got that on a 16 long pattern, so let's change the length of that pattern. So shift and length, let's drop it down to 4. And then let's double it. Let's double to 8 steps. Well, let's undo that. Now back down to the 4 steps. Just showing you all the different functions really. Let's delete the first 2 steps of that. We're on step 1 there. Let's just press hold. That's deleted. Step 2, that's deleted. So if we play it now, it should be a gap and 2 notes or 2 chords. Now let's double it. And double it again. To 16 steps now. And then let's maybe overdub something onto it. In fact, if we overdub it, so it turns blue. Or we could just record onto it, take overdub off. Done. Let's save that, shift and save. We could decide the way we want to save it to, but just save over what I've done there. So, and we can play that single notes. Or we can play it and play over it. And if we mutate a sequence, it will try and keep it within the confines of how you're playing it, supposedly. It's quite nice. Mutate it again. It's taking that off, has it? So you can just keep on doing that and keep on saving them without really knowing what you're doing. Let's try that again with another pattern, some step sequencing. Let's say 16 or 17 at 16. Maybe overdub a chord. Okay, let's save that, shift save, saved. Let's try and mutate it. Not keen, undo. In fact, let's set the scale, so shift scale, let's go to, let's go with the blue scale, you can't go wrong with that. That's kind of nice. Yeah, that's all right. So let's save that again. So shift and save to preset 2. Do it on there. So go to preset 2, shift 2, play. And to chain them, let's chain, select patterns 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. That's done, and then play it. We can change the rate of this, so slower, much slower, change it to thirds, or triplets or dotted. can nudge it left and right. You can't really tell because I haven't got a beat playing. We can change the octave. I'm playing the chain here, so it keeps on changing from one pattern to the next. So let's just play one. Yeah, 16ths and then standard. We can record automations as well. If we go into the sequencer settings, just let it know that's what we want to do. Record count, record quantize, record automation. Turn that on. So just overdub. It's lovely, that, isn't it? And you can send automations from the mod wheel. You have to touch the velocity to the mod out. If we come into the main menu, MIDI, sync, CV pitch, CV gate, and CV mod. CV mod 1 source, velocity after touch mod wheel, random or a pulse. So as you can see, it's become much more of a complex sequencer arpeggiator. So I like that. Let's save that to number 4. So shift save to 4. Okay. And now we can send that, if we want, to the arpeggiator. Hit ARP, go to ARP mode 16, and that takes what's in the sequencer into the ARP. So and if we add some different notes, we get some interesting variations. So yeah, from the ARP to the sequencer, back to the ARP again, loads of fun to be had in this. Loads of fun and loads of inspirational tools in there, I think. So yeah, is that cheating? Because that was far too easy. And just to show you the main global menus, just in case you're wondering. So MIDI options, output input, keyboard channel, sync options. So those sync options that we got on the back of the original Keystep on the Keystep 37 are now in here. Clock send, transport send, so sync CV, yeah. So, oops. CV pitch, CV gate, CV mod, controls and miscellaneous, LED. In fact, this is quite cool, this, because nighttime mode, they all come on nice and subdued so you can see what you're doing in the dark. Other things I've not mentioned is shift and gate and shift and spice. Shift and spice changes the little gate lengths and adds extra little bits and bobs. Gate length, oops. So there's your spice happening, shift and gate length. Depends on the tone that you're using, but there's your gate lengths. Oh, it does feel like this is doing more of the gate than this on this sound. So I think I've shown everything I wanted to show on this. It's a great little unit. It's priced at €129. So that's actually cheaper than the original Keystep. And the minute that's for sale, I think it's at £149 in Andertons. So great value for money and loads of things to dig into and have a play with. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was of some use to somebody somewhere. If it was, please do subscribe. Ring the bell, join me over on Patreon. Take a look at my starskycarr.com website. There's patches, there's samples, there's stuff to download. But most of all, thanks very much for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.